Voters in Pennsylvania's 18th district will cast their ballots Tuesday to fill an open House seat, more than a year after President Trump won the district by 20 points. Republican Rick Saccone is looking to keep the seat red, but he's locked in a tight race with 33-year-old Democrat Conor Lamb, a Marine and a former federal prosecutor. Both candidates have been making their cases to voters ahead of the special election. Donald Trump Jr. campaigned with Saccone Monday, meeting with the owner of a candy facility and visiting with volunteers at a local fire department. Nancy Cortez is in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. Nancy, why did Donald Trump Jr. make this trip to Pennsylvania for Rick Saccone?
Well, clearly the Saccone campaign believes that if he is going to pull out a win here, Elaine, it's going to be because of that Trump name. Donald Trump, the president, won by 20 points here a year and a half ago, and he's already been out twice as recently as this weekend. And so it was pretty interesting to watch Rick Saccone go from event to event today with Donald Trump Jr. And I asked him why he decided to spend this final day of the campaign with Donald Trump Jr., and he said they're actually good friends. But Trump Jr. was clearly here to send a message. In fact, at his last event of the day, he told the crowd, look, my father's not on the ballot, but his policies are, and so you have to send folks like Rick Saccone here to come from here to Washington if you want to see my father's policies enacted. And so the question now is, can that Trump name get Rick Saccone over the finish line? There's a new national poll, a credible poll out today looking at this district that finds that Conor Lamb, the Democrat, is actually ahead by 6 points going into Election Day.
Well, and in fact, the Democrat Conor Lamb has outraised Rick Saccone significantly leading up to this special election, but Republican groups have spent more on the race. What's the significance of that?
Well, normally you would not see either party sink $8 million into a special election for a House seat, particularly in this case where the House seat is actually going to disappear entirely in about half a year. Pennsylvania's congressional districts are being changed. They're being redistricted. So whoever wins here is going to actually have to run again in a very different district in just a few short months. But really, this is about bragging rights, and this is about momentum and enthusiasm. Democrats believe that they've got enthusiasm on their side heading into the midterm elections, and they see this race as a test of that theory. If the Democrat, Conor Lamb, is able to overcome a Donald Trump win in this district and actually beat Rick Saccone in the polls, this is a seat, after all, that was held by another Republican until he resigned a couple of months ago. Democrats say that is another good sign coming on the heels of the Doug Jones win for Senate in another special election in Alabama, that they've really got momentum and energy on their side. And that is why you see the Trump family putting so much into this race as well, because they know that whatever happens here will reflect back on the president. And that could be part of the reason why the president made his announcement in the lead up to this election that he was going to be imposing tariffs on steel and aluminum coming from other countries. That is the kind of announcement that plays well here in steel country.
And do we know, though, Nancy, since basically both candidates have expressed support for that policy, how much of an impact that announcement is going to have on the race?
It's very interesting. You know, we were talking to a number of voters here today, and some of them think that it is just the ticket, that it will help bring steel jobs back to this region that has been very hard hit, that it will send a message to other countries that they can't take advantage of the United States. And then you've got others who say, well, I worry about what kind of tariffs they'll end up slapping on our goods, and the prices of goods will just raise for us, and it'll all sort of be a wash. It's interesting to see the direction that these two candidates have taken. Rick Saccone, obviously a big supporter of the president's move, and Conor Lamb, who has been positioning himself as a very moderate Democrat, has shown a lot of support for it as well. But he's been talking a lot more about pensions for union workers, about Medicare, about Medicaid, and he is arguing that a vote for him is a vote for protecting those entitlements in Washington that he has been arguing Republicans like the president and like Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, might try to chip away at after passing these huge tax cuts. Rick Saccone said once again today he is not going to vote to let that happen, but clearly that is something that Democrats worry about, and it's a reason that Conor Lamb has picked up a lot of support from union leaders in this district.
All right, we'll find out soon which arguments break through. Nancy Cordes for us in Pennsylvania. Nancy, thanks very much.
Thank you, Elaine.